I don't know how long you've been ranting and raving about wanting to change the opening, but listen, things need to happen, man. I know we all love the zombie apocalypse question. I know we all get a big kick out of me losing my again and saying Dave smells like nougat. But find a replacement. Find a replacement. Find me going ape at Ted Gregory, for Christ's sake. There's countless examples of me losing my mind, either laughing or yelling. There's examples of Dave losing his mind, of Andrew losing his mind.
The hell was that?
Now here's your host, Ralph Malbrook.
All right, welcome to another edition of Saints Happy Hour. As always, we are sponsored by TixBlitz. I'd like to take a second to tell you about our official ticket provider of the Armchair Media Network. Unlike other ticket providers that sneak in extra fees and unexplained service charges, at TixBlitz, the price you see is the price you pay. If you want to see your favorite player get in his licks, maybe that's Hakeem Nicks, Akeem Hicks, or HaHa Clinton Dix, go to TixBlitz.com, enter promo code Armchair at checkout and receive 5% off your total ticket purchase. That's TixBlitz.com. Promo code Armchair. TixBlitz. Guaranteed seats, guaranteed emotions. How was that?
It was good.
It was good.
I don't think you made a mistake.
See,
I'm almost offended.
I had a listener, Dorothy, who is a speech pathologist.
Oh, she gave you some tips?
She gave me tips. Thanks, Dorothy. She gave me tips, and she gave me 2 voice exercises to do, and I'm working on it.
Wow, and it hey, it worked.
It works.
It's working.
Yeah.
Good job.
What was the tip?
Yeah.
Tips and tricks for TixBlitz.
It probably won't last because I won't have the patience to do the exercises every week. So Kevin, that was your first time hearing the Temp Open. What did you think of it?
It was very nice. I liked that you bleeped out the cuss words in the opening, despite the fact that we drop all kinds of cusses on the show itself.
I know.
I like lulling the audience into a false sense of security.
Wait. First of all, Kevin, you're coming in hot on the microphone. And second of all, that was my immediate response too, was why are you bleeping out the curses when we curse all the time on the show?
Well, here's the thing. I said when I did the original, but when I did it originally, I got a little crazy with the sound effects, and I enjoyed it so much. And speaking of sound effects, because it's free agency and the moratorium's going on, and they could have breaking news at any moment, we have breaking news sound effects, although if you listen to the show, you know breaking news will happen after the show. But if, in fact, it happens during the show, you will hear this sound effect. Or this, the more serious one. So, free agency started today. Teams are spending money like fucking a bachelor party at Visions off of Dalman Road. I don't know what is the most ridiculous shit I saw today as far as like free agent spending. I think the fungus guy from Carolina getting $13 million is my favorite. Andrew, what was the contract that you saw today that you went, oh my fucking God, before we get to what the Saints moves today?
Well, I mean, they're paying Devin Funchess $500,000 per drop pass this year, obviously. But so yeah, no, Funchess is insane to me. The other one, I mean, Landon Collins is a good player, but my God, man, 7.4% of your salary cap tied to a Pro Bowl safety. We're not talking about Ed Reed here. I mean, we're talking about like maybe a Malcolm Jenkins type guy. Maybe not even that good. Like 7.4%. I mean, and this is why the Redskins are the Redskins. And obviously they didn't learn anything from Michael Haynesworth, or Albert Haynesworth, sorry. But yeah, I don't blame Mickey Loomis for not making any deals. Like I mean, all the receivers, man. I mean, Funchess is the most egregious part, but like Adam Humphries, like I know the cap's at $188 million now, and I know that like we have to kind of forget what we believe about contract numbers because it's just different now with the cap being so high. But I'm sorry, man. Like I'm just not paying Adam Humphries $9 million a year. I'd rather just get a rookie on a rookie deal and make him catch 40 balls a year.
I mean, Kevin, it was my birthday this past weekend, and I gambled irresponsibly at the Beau Rivage. But
it's the only way to gamble.
It is. I feel like me doubling down on a 10 against the King was very irresponsible. But I feel like that wasn't as irresponsible as the Jaguars giving fucking Nick Foles $50 million guaranteed.
Yeah, look, I like Nick Foles as a quarterback. I think he's good, but man,
he's pretty well endowed too.
Well, yeah, that too. But the Jaguars, then they're not going to be able to protect him. Like who's he throwing to?
That's a good question. Can you name a Jaguar receiver for $10 million, Dave?
Is Allen Robinson still on the team?
He's not.
Is Allen Hurns?
He's not.
Dante Moncrief?
He is not.
Somebody else named Allen.
It's like the skit on Saturday Night Live where they're like name this person, and they're like give them a celebrity and they know the celebrity, and then they have a person walk on and it's like their best friend, and they're like, I'm your best friend's girlfriend. What's my name for $10 million? And the person doesn't know it. So
well,
the Saints
nobody's mentioned Honey Badger getting. What did he get? Like $13 million a year, $14 million a year.
Here's the thing that
$2 million.
Any of you can jump in with this, because I'm going to ask this question and I don't have a fucking answer for it. Last year, the Saints signed Kurt Coleman before free agency started and gave him, 2 years, $13 million, and then they cut him, and the safety market collapsed, and the Saints didn't need to pay that, and no one paid fucking safeties. And this year, everybody's paying safeties out the ass. So what the fuck changed from 2018 to 2019 from teams going, paying safeties is a terrible idea, to, hey, safeties, take all of our money? Anybody?
I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know if someone else has something to say, but like, I don't get it. I'm stupefied.
I mean,
I have no insightful thoughts on this matter.
I mean, Kevin, is it just like you decide to make an impulse purchase when you go to IKEA, or you're like shopping and then you're like, fuck, I'm getting the duvet, even though I don't have a good explanation for it, and it makes me think that NFL teams really do not know what the fuck they're doing. Like, they don't have a plan.
Right. Right. Like, I go to Target and I'm saying, listen, I'm just going to buy, like, I want to buy an extra, like an extra bed sheet and the fitted sheet. I don't need a whole new set. And you go in there and you're looking and you're like, all right, I was only going to spend this. But then you start looking and you're like, well, shit, I can get me like a nice 400 thread count, full set. And it's $10 off. Plus, if I, use this app thing, I can get another $5 off. So, before you know it, you end up talking yourself into spending more money on the 500 thread count. Because you're like, yeah, but I'm going to be sleeping in luxury, and you spend a third of your life to sleep. So why not, why not rub your legs, or for some of you, rub your ass cheeks too, up against some fine Egyptian cotton. So
Kevin, you want to back up like 1 inch from the mic, buddy?
Sorry.
So Jarris Bird, would he be like 500 thread count Egyptian, or like, or like a ratted out blanket from like 1975?
He was 500 thread count when he first started. I think we bought him 500 thread count at Goodwill.
And now he's Kevin's crusty sock that's sitting next to his bed.
Oh, that took a weird turn. I was heartbroken that the Saints didn't get Antonio Brown and his blonde mustache. Andrew, when Michael Thomas, when he saw that Antonio Brown got an extra $30 million guaranteed, did he just text his agent a giant money bag, or did he call him just screaming into the microphone like a teenage girl?
No, I think he. I'm trying to think. Kevin would have a good answer for this. Kevin, what did I'm picturing Michael Thomas just sending his agent like a GIF or just one picture, like something really subtle.
Well, I think it's the GIF. Was it the movie Friday After Next where I want to say it's the guy standing in the windowsill rubbing his hands together. Or it might have been the GIF of the fat black guy from Breaking Bad laying on that big stack of money. That guy, or it could have been Scrooge McDuck diving into the money bin at the beginning of DuckTales.
I like that.
Could have been DiCaprio tossing off hundreds. Wolf of Wall Street. Could have been the GIF of a big stack of 20s being counted out in the bank counting machine. It could have been a GIF of Michael Douglas from Wall Street saying greed is good. They could have said the agent could have said something about Antonio Brown and said, "Hey, do you want me to try and get you this kind of money too?" And maybe our boy Michael Thomas, in a fit of irony, sends back a GIF of Wesley Snipes and Demolition Man saying "Exactamundo," because Antonio Brown looking like fucking Wesley Snipes from Demolition Man.
On the flip side, Andrew, do you think P.J. Williams' family, after they saw the Buster Screen contract for 3 years, $17 million, do you think they sent him the GIF of the Joker with a burning pile of money behind him?
I think if P.J. Williams' family was smart, the second they saw that contract, they should have lit his car on fire. Or slashed his tires, at least.
Poor P.J. Williams. He was set to make about $20 million. Now he's going to come back to the Saints on like a 1-year, $4 million deal, if that. Maybe not.
Yep.
So Dave, the Saints actually did stuff today. They signed Craig Robertson. They re-signed him. They're keeping Chris Banjo, so they're going at special teams.
For $3 million a year, that he's just special teams?
I mean, he's going to be the third safety, right? I mean, but
he's going to have to be at least. It's a lot of money. I was very surprised to see that number. I mean, I know it's incentives, includes incentives, so it's not the full contract. That he might not actually make $9 million, but I mean that's a big number for somebody like Chris Banjo.
Is he Andrew? He's the third safety now, right? Is that fair?
I mean, for now, they could still bring back Kurt Coleman. I mean, they said they were open to that, and I don't know if he would have a role or not, but I don't think he's necessarily the third safety. I mean, I think as things stand right now, yes, but between the draft and all that, we'll wait and see. I think primarily they just rewarded him because, I mean, he's played pretty well when he's played defense. They feel decent about him as a backup, but I mean, he's their best special teams player. I mean, they're really maybe paying a little bit of a tax just to make sure they keep their best gunner. And they really believe he's one of the best in the league.
Dave, if the Saints, because the slot receiver market we talked about at the top, it's getting out. I mean, Adam Humphrey's got $9 million. I think the only really big slot guy left is what they have. Devontae Adams from Green Bay and Golden Tate are really the only two big names left, and you got to figure they're going to get in the 8
Randall
to 10
Cobb.
What's that?
Randall Cobb, he's out there.
I mean, so let's assume that the market is too much for the Saints. They don't want to get involved, or they say they can't because they have like $6 of cap space, but that never stopped them before, right? But let's say they don't do anything at wide receiver. Are you cool with them, with the same group going into 2019 and maybe adding another guy in the draft? Is that okay with you? Or will you be mad and send out angry tweets?
No, I don't think I'm really that okay with it. It might be different if they had a full, draft board. But, only one pick in the first 5,000 picks in the draft. That's, it's like they really can't. I mean, as it stands now, who knows if they're going to trade, acquire more picks, do whatever. But I mean, as it stands now, it's not like you can say, well, they can build through the draft, because they cannot build through the draft this year. I mean, they can, but they'd have to hit on every single pick they've got. So to me, kind of free agency this year was kind of maybe where they needed to, where they were going to have their best shot at addressing their biggest needs, their glaring needs, like a slot guy or a pass catching tight end. So to answer your question, I would really like to see it happen soon.
Andrew, is it going to happen?
I don't think so. I think Loomis is going to show. I don't know. I won't say it's not going to happen, actually. I just think it's one of those things where Loomis is going to use the same diligence he did last year. I think he's learned from Jarris Burton. I think there's a reason we really haven't seen him make expensive kind of risks anymore. He's really investing in mid-level guys. If Mickey Loomis feels like it's a good deal for the Saints, then they will sign a player, and otherwise they're not going to overspend. They're not going to pay extra for Ndamukong Suh or Jimmy Graham. I mean, they will take those players if they come to the Saints on Mickey Loomis's terms, but that's the approach. And so, I don't really see any of these first-day guys that are getting signed. I mean, I'm be honest with you, I'm kind of surprised Golden Tate hasn't signed anything yet, because that tells me that maybe he's going to make less than some of these guys that have made 9 to 10, even 13 million in a year. So, but no, I think Mickey Loomis is going to wait for the market to settle. I still think he's going to sign guys, but he may have to settle for bringing back Des Bryant at the minimum, or he may have to settle for signing a guy like Dante Moncrief. Maybe he's the guy that they get for less money than the other guys at $3 million a year or something like that.
I hear what you're saying about sensible free agent and being smart and learning from Jarris Bird. But Kevin, I have to say, sensible, moderate, frugal Mickey Loomis is boring as fuck.
Yeah, you've been accosting the poor man via Twitter to do something ridiculous.
But it's fun. I want ridiculous. It's not my money. I don't give a shit. Like, it's it was fun last year when the Saints missed out on Jimmy Graham and then signed two dudes within like 10 minutes. That shit's fun, even if it's a bad decision. Right?
Look, listen. I would rather let's see what the draft holds.
They don't have any picks.
The draft holds nothing for you, Kevin, but disappointment when the Saints start burning 2020 assets to move up to get a tight end that we've never fucking heard of. Because
Listen, I've already gone on record on this very show. I mean, I know I haven't made, I know I don't make many appearances, but when the last Blood Moon appeared, I was on the show, and I did say that I was fine with the Saints abandoning my trade down philosophy in favor of going all in this coming season.
But will they? Will they? Ooh,
They might.
You know, the Saints haven't re-signed their big pieces yet, Dave. But none of their big pieces have left yet. Mark Ingram, the rumor was that he might have Green Bay, Chicago, Baltimore might be interested. How are you feeling about your boyfriend?
I think you started the rumor about him going to Chicago.
No, that was my prediction. My prediction on Twitter is that Ryan Pace is going to do something retarded and give Mark Ingram like 3 years, $20 million with like 11
They
million
did just sign Mike Davis, the running back. So.
Oh, they did? Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was maybe they didn't sign him for very much money. It was like 2 years, $6 million, but so it wouldn't necessarily rule them out of getting Ingram, but I don't know. They have their running back, so maybe not.
Yeah, but I mean, they have that guy. They have Cohen. They have other guys. I can't think of. I mean, that's a lot.
Jordan
of
Howard. Yeah, but
like,
I think he might be on the way out. I don't know.
Yeah. So are you feeling better about your boyfriend coming back, Dave?
No, it's. Oh, excuse me. It's only day one, so no, I'm not feeling any extra confident. I think he's a goner.
Apparently the Ravens want him really bad. I'm reading.
Oh, who? Mark Ingram?
Yeah, it's on Twitter right now. I'm searching Mark Ingram, and it says Ravens are heavy on Mark Ingram.
Kevin, there's nothing appealing about Baltimore, and everything I know from Baltimore I learned from watching The Wire.
It's the city that reads.
What
that was
what would Baltimore have to give you, Kevin, for you to leave New Orleans if you were Mark Ingram, besides a pile of money? Like how much money would they have to give you?
All of the crab cakes. like that's basically like you pretty much need to give me my own seafood restaurant in order for me to move from New Orleans.
It's not Seafood Palace,
and it's not Baltimore. It's Baltimore. You got to get that right. Like that, I remember. I remember that from watching The Wire. Baltimore.
Andrew, I put my kid to sleep before the podcast, and I have to lay on the tiger rug while he falls asleep in his room, and I fell asleep as well and took like a mini nap, and I had this weird dream that Bill Belichick signed Alex Okafor. So let's assume that I can tell the future, and Alex Okafor does in fact leave and go to New England. How do you feel about Cameron Wake as an Okafor replacement as we get into rampant rumor mongering that I just created?
I mean, it kind of makes sense because, that's Ireland's dude. Ireland drafted him, and I know Ireland likes him. And isn't Cameron Wake like 37 years old? He's
38.
Old. 38. Wow. He was pretty good for the Dolphins, though, wasn't? I know you watched the Dolphins.
He's good. He can still he's got like 20.
Still sack the quarterback.
6 sacks in the last 3 years. Like he could still sack the quarterback. Now
he's
a little bit Junior Galette-ish against.
What is it about these explosive pass rushers that teams draft that like can't get 3 sacks in a season to save their life, but then like these old pass rushers like Dwight Freeney and Terrell Suggs and like John Abraham and like all these old Julius Peppers, like they like are old and decrepit and 50 years old and like they're just like getting 7 sacks a season in their sleep.
It's like old man basketball game,
It's so weird.
I mean, the only thing with Cameron Wake is he can be a little Junior Galette-ish versus the run. You know? Like, but like,
Well, that didn't stop the Saints from giving Junior Galette a lot of money.
no. But the thing is, like, the problem for Miami
As
is,
long as he's not Junior Galette-ish in the brain, I'm good with him.
well, the thing about Miami though is they play a shit ton of close game under Adam Gase, but they also got blown out a ton. So like, it could be a game where like they're getting blown out and I'm watching them get gashed on the run, and I'm like, Cameron Wake just doesn't give a shit. But they're down 3 scores, so it didn't matter. So anyway, Dave, is there besides, if I told you you have the magical power to have the Saints, they can do one move today, and they can do any move you want, what would it be?
Like where money's not an issue?
Money's not. You could just. It can be any. Yeah, money's not an issue. You want them to do it. Sign a guy.
I mean, I would like to see them sign Mark Ingram, but I don't want them to overpay. So, I mean, I would be totally happy if they said, oh, yeah, we signed Mark Ingram for $4 million a year.
But, I mean...
For like 3 years. But, like, if I could go out and get any free agent, I would like to... I think, like, somebody like Golden Tate I would like to see.
All right, here, breaking news. You want to play the horn?
Play it. Play both. Play the horn, then the... Oh, come on. Oh.
All right, we got breaking news. Give it to us, Andrew.
Well, it's not really breaking news, but it's Diana Rossini, who we know when she says stuff about the Saints, it's legit because she's got a direct bat phone line into Sean Payton's office. She says that the Ravens are in on Mark Ingram. However, the Saints want to keep him. It will depend on the price. So as of right now, it looks like there are 2 suitors for Mark Ingram. The Saints are making the push to try to keep him, but the Ravens are offering big money.
Big money. Like, did she have a number?
No specifics. But, I mean, if I had to guess, I bet that the Ravens are probably offering Ingram more money. And so Ingram's going to have to make a decision if he takes a little bit less and stays in New Orleans or goes to Baltimore.
I mean, like, if the Saints keep Ingram and, we're like, well, $5 million's about right. If they pay Ingram like $7 million, will you really give a shit? Like, I want my Deuce McAllister record-breaking celebration, and if it costs the Saints a couple million extra, I don't care. I want the memory.
Yeah, I'm not with you.
You party pooper.
I love Mark Ingram, and I want him to stay, but I am not willing to pay him more than $5 million a year. I'm just not, because like in my mind, like you can find good running backs. I mean, every year there's a rookie running back that was drafted in the 4th or 5th round that ends up starting for a team and being really good. It happens every year. The Saints were able to find guys like Chris Ivory is still in the league, and he was a UDFA. I mean, the Saints have been able. Kyrie Robinson was good. Lionel Hamilton was good for a little bit. I mean, the Saints have been. Traverse Cadet was in the league forever. They've been able to find UDFAs that. Marcus Murphy's still in the league. They drafted him in the 7th round. So I'm not saying any of those guys are Ingram, but my point here is they can find a guy, and like I just don't think they need to overpay $7 million a year for a 30-year-old running back. You don't have to pay that much to get a pretty good one these days. I think it's just really bad business.
Here's my thing, Dave. I just said I want him to keep Ingram. If they overpay him, I don't care because I want my record-breaking celebration. But here's the thing on Twitter that I argued with some people, and they're smart people that I actually respect and like on Twitter. And they were like, look, the first 4 games, it showed that if the Saints don't have Ingram, the offense is not as good, and it was Gillislee was a failure and this and that, and they have to re-sign Ingram. He's more important than you think, and blah blah blah. My thing is like, they knew that they only had to patch that shit for 4 weeks. Like, if Ingram leaves for Baltimore tonight, the Saints know, like, we got to get a full-time fucking replacement. And I just think that's a different proposition than trying to patch that shit for a month. And I don't think what we saw for 4 weeks is indicative of what it will be if Ingram's gone necessarily.
I agree. I mean, I don't think that's a fair argument to make in that situation. But it still doesn't mean that the Saints need to overpay for Mark Ingram.
Yeah, I want him to overpay. I want my celebration. You know? Quick prediction around the horn. Andrew, Ingram, he's probably going to make a decision tonight. Stay or go?
I mean, Baltimore has a lot more cap space than the Saints do.
We'll have to put Kamara on suicide watch. He'll be so sad.
Yeah. I think Ingram stays.
Oh, you think he stays? Dave, stay or go?
I think Dave just fainted.
No, I really do believe that Peyton and Loomis and the front office and the coaching staff, I really think Ingram's value to them isn't necessarily so much what he does on the field, but in the locker room and with Kamara. And, you know, like I said last week, I feel like an investment in Ingram is an investment in Kamara and just your running game in general. And I think that I think we might see the Saints maybe pay a little more than they want to pay just to keep him. That's my guess.
And then then everybody will turn against Ingram because they'll be like, fucking $6.5 million's too much. I think Peyton. I mean, I think Peyton is. As funny as this is to say, I think Peyton shares a lot of the same feelings that you do, Ralph. I think he wants to see somebody, him break Deuce's record, and I just think he wants to. I think he has a lot of respect for Mark Ingram, and in similar ways to Drew Brees. Drew Brees is his right-hand man, and I don't know. His son told him to draft him, and he did. Traded up just to draft him just because Connor Payton said so. I don't know. I think Peyton's got a little nostalgic love for Ingram as well. Speaking of quarterback, as we segue, Nick Foles getting $100 million, as we mentioned. Bad decisions by Jacksonville. But, Andrew, everything has fallen into place, kind of.
I think Nick Foles is going to be the best quarterback they've had in a long time. I mean, I think it's...
Bortles is a fucking dumpster fire, though. Like, that's not saying much.
Yeah, but a decent quarterback may be all they need, Ralph.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I'm okay with that. I like that. I think that's a good.
But it's good for the Saints because it closes off pathways for Bridgewater. So now, Andrew, I got to say, if Bridgewater doesn't come back to the Saints, I'll be surprised.
Yeah, I feel like Miami's really, at this point, the only thing left that is even an option. I mean, there's every other team has their starting quarterback position locked up. The possible exception to that is Arizona. If Arizona were to trade Rosen, it's possible that at that point they'd say, hey, if you want to come start for us for a year, we're going to draft a guy, but if you want to be our starter this year, we'll sign you, Teddy. And so that's maybe one to watch. But otherwise, I mean, the Miami Dolphins and they haven't decided their parting ways for sure with Tannehill yet. So sorry, Tannehill. I went full Ralph there. But those are the two options to me. So then it just becomes a question like, what do they think about Bridgewater? And are they willing to offer him a lot of money? Your sense, Ralph, was that the Dolphins may want to suck this year and try to draft Tua. So, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. Like the Dolphins, it's weird. They're sort of that's what all the beat writers are saying for Miami. That's what they say on the Lebertard show. I listen to the local hour because I like the Lebertard show a lot, and I listen to that. That's the sense that the Dolphins, they're really not in win now mode. Like they're sort of been stuck in this like they've been stuck in the 7-9 purgatory that the Saints were in for 3 years. They've been basically stuck in that for like 20 years, except for the 1-15 season and the playoff season to follow it in 2008. Like the rest of the time, they've been like 7-9, 7-9, 7-9, and they're just fucking tired of it. So they're just gonna blow that shit up. And I don't know whether if you're gonna blow it up, blow it up. Don't fucking go out and get Teddy Bridgewater and pay him $14 million to try to win games. So I just think Teddy Bridgewater I think he's going to come back, and I'm excited about it because I think, this is going to be Breeze's last year. The next question to you, Andrew, is if the Saints do not even a major move, but like if they want to keep Ingram, they got to free up cap space, right? So who's going to be the people that they're going to go to sort of free up space before Wednesday when everything kicks off?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, you look at some people have them maybe with Atlanta as the two teams that have the least amount of space. So, there's really only a few ways they can do it. I mean, the first one to me is Andrus Peat. There's something needs to be done with him. I mean, I would be surprised and kind of frankly disappointed if the Saints went into the season with Andrus Peat with the current contract situation that he has. So, that's one to watch just because right now he's counting $11 million against the cap. $11 million? Damn. Yeah. So it's one of those things where they can either try to, extend him in a situation like that. They might be able to give him a really low number in year one. He's at 9.6 million. He's at 9.6 million. So that's his cap number. So they could cut him and they recoup most of that, I think, except for about 2 million, if I'm not mistaken. So, or they could restructure him and sign him to a long-term deal. I mean, the big thing about Andrus Peat is, do they believe he's the left tackle of the future? If they believe that, then it's worth giving him a long-term deal now because you can get him for much less than 9.6 million this year. Obviously, eventually he'd be more, but for this year, his cap number would lower, and you've got him locked up. But I think you only do that if you believe that he's your left tackle of the future. If you believe that he's not that, and you also believe that Will Clapp and Cameron Tom are good options at left guard, then I think you cut him. Because then that gives you a lot of space.
I'm gonna make a prediction, a wild Andrus Peat prediction, Dave, and you can agree or disagree. Either Andrus Peat is gonna have an extension before the NFL draft, or the Saints are gonna trade him on draft day for like a 5th to a 7th round pick to a team that needs a guard. He's not gonna be on the Saints on that 1 year, $9 million cap hit. He's either doing a long-term extension or they're trading him or they'll trade him draft day. What do you think of that?
I would not like to see them trade him. I think he's too valuable. I would not like that at all. So hopefully in your scenario, it's door number one.
All right. Before we get to listener questions, which we have a ton of fun ones, I want to tell you about MyBookie. They will match your deposit dollar for dollar. Use promo code HAPPY25 to activate the offer. Visit MyBookie online today. That's MYBOOKIE. And don't forget to use the promo code HAPPY25 when creating your account and claim up to $1,000 in free play. You play, you win, you get paid. Terms and restrictions apply. One last thing before we get to listener questions. Reminder that, hey, you want to do the $7 a month to get the daily podcast, but I want to talk to the people on Podbean really quick. Podbean is really struggling to run their apps and different things, and we love all you people on Podbean, but if you switch over from Podbean to Patreon and switch over and sign up at the $3.28 limit level on Patreon, we will send you a free beer koozie. Just cancel on Podbean, switch over to Patreon. You won't be charged until the 1st of next month. Just do it. Sign up for the $3.28 level. You get a free beer koozie, and it'll make your life easier. Patreon is way better than Podbean. If you want to stay on Podbean, you can, but Patreon is so much better. They have a custom RSS feed you can use. It's awesome. So if you switch over, you're getting a free beer koozie. Me and Dave are going to design it, and Dave's going to order them and ship them to me, and then my wife will write the address. My wife. And my wife will mail them to you, and you'll get a free beer koozie and better service on Patreon, and my wife will get a deluxe mail job because my handwriting is shit. So that's just an announcement for housekeeping for the podcast. So we got listener questions a ton. I guess people are fired up. This is a good one, Andrew. If Bridgewater re-signs with the Saints, but Ingram leaves, does Taysom Hill become the new running back duo with Kamara? Hashtag Mormon Boom and Zoom.
Oh my God. Yeah, I don't think he's. If anything, I think tight end or H back is they would utilize him in that role more. But yeah, I don't see him as a straight up running back that could play and take the wear and tear that Ingram does. So I don't really see him being a traditional running back now.
Like hell, he can't.
It would be awesome. I won't lie. Like Taysom Hill as a running back, it would probably only last like 3 weeks before he get injured, but it would be fantastic. Here's a good question, Dave. Is signing every free agent tight end enough to satiate Saints Twitter? And if it isn't, would cloning playoff Josh Hill be enough? Hashtag Loomis can make this work.
Cloning playoff Josh Hill is not the answer, not the solution. Two wrongs don't make a right, as they say.
I will say, the Josh Hill contract that the Saints doled out, 3 years, $8.5 million, that shit was a steal by the Saints. That's practically indentured servitude, Andrew, compared to what the fucking tight ends have been getting. I mean,
yeah, I think he's really kicking himself.
I mean, dude, they got a tight end with 18 to 20. They got a tight end for Baltimore. He had 21 catches. He got 3 years, $16 million, $10 million guaranteed, and they're like, he's a good blocker. I'm like, so? Like, Michael Humanamawi was, or whatever his name was a good blocker for the Saints, and they were paying him
pretty close.
Pretty close, yeah. I just think like that Josh Hill contract was good. The Saints saved themselves.
So you're
money.
telling me Josh Hill, he's caught like 16 passes like every year he's played for the Saints. So basically, you're telling me he could, if he had only caught 4 more balls, that would have been good enough for $6 million a year.
I'm telling you, it would have
doubled his salary.
Yes, I am saying that exact thing. Have you seen? They got tight ends that I have never fucking heard of getting $20 million for 3 years. They had some dude,
wild.
Croft. Buffalo gave him 3 years, $19 million. I was like, who the fuck is this dude? This is from Wallace. Dave,
you know how many balls Tyler Croft caught last year?
How many?
4.
Are you shitting me?
No.
Do you think Josh Hill is just angrily texting his agent, just like fucking the Shining gif of the fucking Jack Nicholson looking crazy in the snow? This is from Wallace, Dave. If Loomis ever got a ton of cap space to work with, would he spend it on a handful of high-priced options or just buy the entire dollar store?
I mean, knowing the Loomis that I know, he would buy just a few high-priced options.
I mean, Wallace, next year, if Drew Brees retires, even if you factor in $18 million for Teddy Bridgewater, or factor in $20 million for Bridgewater, and let's say $20 million for Mike Thomas, the Saints are still going to have fucking $60 million of cap space.
We're gonna beg Ben Watson to unretire, aren't we?
Yes,
No.
we are.
No,
that was my prediction on Twitter today.
The Ben Watson comeback was quite a disappointment.
All right, this is crazy pants from Alfie. Do you, Andrew? Do you think the Saints let Ingram sign elsewhere and bring in Le'Veon Bell? No.
No, I do not.
I do think the Saints are waiting to see what they're going to have to do with regard to Ingram before they're going to make any other moves. So, I don't know whether we're going to see the Saints sign, an outside free agent from another team until we maybe hear news about Ingram.
No, I think that's fair because if Ingram leaves, it's sort of they got to go in the bargain bin for a running back, Andrew, like a Spencer Ware or a veteran guy like that, right? And you might draft one too, but you need to have a veteran body, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean Spencer Ware was kind of the first guy that came to mind for me, but yeah, I think if Ingram goes, you would look at. I mean, they're going to have to sign a veteran for sure.
Who would you? This is from Raymond. Dave, who would you rather come out of retirement? Cam Cleveland or Boo Williams?
Boo Williams for sure. I love
how many Achilles tendons do I get with Cam Cleveland?
You get one.
I'll take him. I'll take one. If I get one.
Tyler Eifert is basically a modern day Cam Cleveland.
It's true. I mean,
and that's who.
Yeah, if you're high on Cam Cleveland, then you want Tyler Eifert for sure.
So we've made predictions. Thanks for the Twitter questions.
Can we bring back Shockey? How about Shockey?
Is Shockey
you
still
could
alive?
have Billy Miller. You could have Mr. Jessica Simpson. Remember him? He played for the Saints for a hot minute.
Oh yeah, what was his name? Oh, Eric Johnson. Yeah. I'm gonna throw out something. It's too bad Kevin's not on here. I'm just gonna throw this out there. He rushed for 1,000 yards last year. If Mark Ingram leaves, does it open the window for Adrian Peterson?
Oh my God! Jesus!
Just saying.
I mean,
just saying. He was pretty good.
Oh.
He was pretty good last
year. Somewhere, Kevin just lost his mind and is like,
what the hell is the world coming to?
So, the interesting thing before we get out of here, I thought Cam Jordan had an interesting tweet. He's like, free agent stressing me because I loved our locker room last year.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's why I think the Saints are going to make a decent push to keep Ingram.
Yeah, I think Ingram is going to stay, and I think Ingram is going to stay and make everybody happy, and then they're going to see the contract and they're going to fucking hate it. That's my prediction.
I think that's about right.
So, that pretty much wraps up the show today. Remember that we have the daily podcast, and me and Andrew can turn that shit around fast. So any breaking news that the Saints have in free agency, if you subscribe to the podcast at $7, you'll get a podcast like 25, 30 minutes later. We're turning that shit around. There ain't going to be another podcast that's going to be up as quick as me and Andrew's will, and it'll be the highest quality, right, Andrew? It could be from our cars or me, or me outside by a dumpster while the grounds crew does lawn work. But it'll be your first taste of Saints analysis after a big free agent move, and it only costs you $7 a month, so do it. That about wraps up the show. Dan.
Wow. Been doing this 10 years.
10 years. My voice training from
Yeah,
Dorothy has
clearly
already...
his speech therapist didn't give him any tips for the end of the show and calling you Dave.
Now he needs an Alzheimer's specialist.
Do they have a pill for that? So, for Dave, for Andrew, for Kevin who had to hit eject, I'm Ralph. Until next week, the bar is closed.